Hello everybody, my name's Chris, and today I'm going to show you how to split wood with a maul. And the reason I'm making this video is because a friend of mine, Carol, she wants to split some wood and she's having some problems. And I asked her, I said, why don't you just split some wood with the maul? And she says that, well, she's very capable and she can easily do it. So I asked her, I said, why don't you do it? And she says, you know, I checked out all these videos on YouTube and it's all about people just showing off how they can split wood, but none of them give a good explanation as to why, you know, and how to do it. So I'm going to try to do that today. So first thing we have to do is, we've got the maul here. We're going to read wood, okay? We're going to look at wood. So let's get this nice piece of wood right here. Let me put this on the stump. Okay, we have a nice little shelf, a stump here that we're going to use as a platform to split wood. And the reason that we're going to raise the wood off the ground is so that when we do split the wood and swing the maul comes down and it's level, perpendicular to the ground, so that the face of the maul hits squarely on the wood. And the reason you want to do that, I'm going to do the why. Nobody really answers why. The reason you want to do that is you want to have maximum surface on this tip to hit the wood. If you come in at an angle with the handle up high, you'll see that only the point hits. If you come in low, only the point hits. The maximum effect of splitting is going to have the center of the face on the wood. So you want to try to be parallel to the ground when you hit the wood and split it. All right, so to read the wood, the first thing you got to do is look to see if there are any knots in the wood. Okay, what's a knot? It's where a limb came out and grew out of the tree. And on here, this looks like it didn't have any limbs on it. So it looks clear, okay? And that's really good. Clear means that there's not going to be any knots. And why is it a problem if there's a knot? Well, if we look at a piece of wood that appears to be clear, you can see all of the fibers running nice and neatly in one direction. And fibers are like a stack of paper. If you have a stack of paper and you try to put a knife down through a stack of paper, it'll glide through the sheets real easily. Now, if these fibers decide to turn on you and your knife is going through, it's going to stop because it's hitting sideways fibers. Now, look at this piece of wood. We see that it doesn't look like there's much going on here. There is a little knot right here. The fibers go around it. And then we got this big knot on the side, but we don't see that in the fibers. But we know that there's a knot, so that's going to be hard to split. How do we know? Here's how. Now, this is the impact of the limb and the knot. So if you go to split this, you can see that the maul will try to go straight through the piece, but the fibers turn. So your maul is going to get wedged. It's going to try to be going straight, but the fibers turn. It'll get wedged. It'll get wedged here, here, here. You might be able to get it to go down here, and this will break off when it gets down here probably. So this is a clear and great representation of how fiber alignment in the wood will help you split wood or hurt you. So again, on the other side, that wasn't so obvious. I would have just taken a maul right down the center of this thing, but if I take it down the center, here's where it's going to wind up and get stuck right around here. So reading the wood is extremely important, okay? The other thing you want to read on wood, I'll probably give that a try just to demonstrate. It's going to make a mess. All right, if we have green wood, now this piece here it's not too old. It's about a year old, but it was still in log form, full log form, only till about a month ago. So it's still kind of green. What green means is it's still kind of wet, very, very wet inside, and it's not dried out. It's not seasoned. So when it's green, you're not going to see a whole lot. What you're going to look for is, see these cracks here? I hope you can see those. Those are stress cracks. So when a tree dries, the moisture comes out and it shrinks. And the inherent stress in a tree causes it to crack. If you can take the maul and land on a crack, it's already trying to crack open. You're just going to help it with the maul and split your piece of wood. It's almost perfect, like a pie shape here. So if you can get your maul in the center close to the crack, it'll just crack. And when it's dry, it splits so much easier. So what makes wood split easier is the species of wood. This is an old, really well seasoned, 2-year seasoned piece of cherry. Cherry splits so easily, and this is also clear, no knots anywhere. So this will be like, it'll be like cutting butter. You don't want to have any knots. You want it to be seasoned. You want to use the stress cracks and the species of wood. Those are the things that'll make a difference. Why does the species of wood matter? Well, pine is very soft. If you try to cut a piece of pine like this, your maul will go through it. It'll be much easier on a piece of soft wood. Cherry's kind of right in the middle. It's more of it's kind of brittle. If you have seasoned cherry and split it, it just kind of cracks open easily, almost shatters, i.e. brittle. And then under here is my green oak. So oak, being very hard, is more difficult to split. Just takes a little bit more effort, and being that it's green, it's all swollen with moisture, so it'll absorb an impact much better because it's got all the moisture. So it's not shrinking, it's not stress cracking. All of these things are going to help us split it. So that's why we want to have kind of seasoned wood, and we want it to be pre-cracked, dried out, not green, but nevertheless, some green pieces will split just fine. And what you got to do is, if you hit this piece with the maul, you'll start a stress crack, and then you want to follow it. But the hardest thing to do with splitting wood, and this is for any beginner, like this is what I would tell Carol, is try to always hit where you want to hit, and that would be in the center. And that is probably the hardest thing to do, especially even if you're seasoned. I mean, you know, some guys that have been splitting wood their whole life, you know, like me, it's difficult to hit that same spot twice every single time. But we try, and the more you do it, the more you're going to force that wood to split completely. So again, I'm trying to make this video I don't want it to drag on. I just want to get all the super important points across. So to recap, you want to hit the same spot twice, aim for the center. If there's a knot, you want to look at where the knot is, and then you don't want to try to split down the knot, because you're going to hit the fiber that's going to be wound up and it'll stop you. So if there's a knot on this side, we'll put the maul down the other side or perpendicular to it so that the wood splits away from the knot. Stay away from the knot until the piece gets small enough to where all the force of the maul goes into the knot, and you can probably split it. It gets harder. You might not split it, and that's okay. At least you whittled it down to a small enough piece where you should be able to get it into your stove with the knot. Now, swinging the maul. Oh boy, this is a big one. Swinging the maul is not so easy, okay? So they come in different sizes and different weights. I should just say different weights. This is an 8-pound maul. And I like the 8-pound maul, and I like it because it's heavy enough so that when you drive it into the wood, it's got the weight, the inertia, the mass to keep going through the wood by itself. So the whole idea when you swing is to let the maul do the work. You're not trying to do the work, okay? You want to get it to where you want and have gravity. You want to have the momentum, that inertia of this piece of this maul going through the wood. But they come in different sizes because for different people, they can't swing an 8-pound maul. It's just a little too heavy. The trade-off is if you go to a lighter, a 6, 4, or 2-pound maul, you're not getting that weight to help drive through the wood. So you're not going to be able to lift it and swing it because it's too heavy. So you get a smaller one. Now the smaller one you will manage, but it'll take a little bit more effort to get through the wood. So you want the maul to do all the work, and then as you mature and get better, you want to increase your swing speed. And there's a technique that you use, but from the start, you really just want to let the maul do the work, okay? The way to increase your swing speed. Okay. So if you're swinging, okay, and you have the maul straight in front of you, okay, let me demonstrate with the maul. If I demonstrate with the maul, swing speed can be accelerated with your wrist. So if we don't use any wrist and we come straight up and straight down, it's all based on the straightness of your arm. So that's your swing speed. But if your arms are moving and you use your wrist, you can double swing speed. Use your wrist to snap it. And then I'll show with this limb here that if I just use my arms, let me back up so maybe you can see this whole thing. If I just use my arms and I come up and I come down, you'll see it only goes a certain speed. But if I go up and I come down at the same time using my wrist, I can double or triple the speed. Okay? That's using your wrist. You see how fast it goes? So again, start off with just gravity, taking it down, and that'll do a lot. And as you get more proficient and control your maul, you can start bringing the wrist into play. Now, before you go and try to get started, when you do use your maul, you want to hit that same spot twice, okay? 3 times, 4 times, same spot. Very difficult to do. How do you do it? Well, the rule of thumb with anything in life is you're going to go where you're looking. The same thing for splitting wood, you're going to hit where you're looking. So you want to stare at the spot you want to split. And if you do that, the odds are pretty good that you're going to hit your mark or be very close. The whole idea is concentration. You want to hit that mark. Now, before I get into it, people say put your feet shoulder distance apart. Absolutely. And why do you want to do that? They just say do it. They don't tell you why. Well, some people will come up and they'll feel comfortable with 1 foot in front, 1 in the back, and come at it and swing at it like this. Well, if you do and you miss, where's that maul going to go? It's going to go right into your foot and split your foot like a piece of wood. Get your foot out of the way and make sure it's not anywhere near where the maul can hit. Now, if you're not really good at hitting your mark, or it's a small piece of wood and difficult to hit, there's a good chance the maul will hit off the side, and if it does, it deflects. If it deflects, you want to just let it go. Let it go, okay? You can barely hold on to it, but bend with your waist and let it go out. If it deflects and you pull it out of response, where's it going to go? Into your foot. So if it deflects, let it go, okay? And then pull it back to you, okay? You don't want to ever have this thing head to your feet because you're not going to stop it, okay? It's just too heavy. Even a 2-pound one will do the same thing. So if your piece starts to get really small, there's a good chance you're going to deflect that maul, and you've got to be prepared to not let it go at your feet, okay? You don't want to hit your feet, hit your shins. You don't want to hit anything on your body with this thing. It's just very dangerous. And depending on how safety conscious you are, you might want to wear goggles, safety glasses, and that's fine. So this is a piece of, let's see. This isn't a demonstration of power by any stretch. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put that piece of cherry on here. And this old guy is really seasoned. So my little platform here is about knee height, which I've heard many people say, and I totally agree with, is perfect. And the reason it's knee height is so that when your maul connects with this piece, it's pretty parallel with the ground. So I'm going to find one of these stress lines. I'm going to aim for it and hope that I hit it. And if I don't, it shouldn't be a big deal. It should still split pretty easy. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'll demonstrate this. I'm not going to put a whole lot of effort into this at all. and we'll just see how it splits. Okay. All right, perfect demonstration here. So the maul's stuck. Well, it looks like it's stuck. If it gets stuck, a lot of people like to lift it. If they lift it, your piece will go backwards and you can't get it out. The easiest way to get it broke free is you hold your piece in the far away from you and you take and hit with your palm. And when you do, it'll push the maul down, and that movement will cause it to work its way out, and then you lift it and go back and forth until it works its way out. I'm not going to try to split this again in the same spot, because if I turn it and split it here, the energy from this split is probably going to blast that piece right off. So I'll show you. Let's see if it does that, okay? And I got my piece there, and here's that piece that remains. Now, if I take my hand and just split it, I don't even have to stress. I'll just go like that and let gravity split the piece apart, okay? Now, here's my piece that got smaller. Here's where it gets a little bit more challenging to hit. All right, this is going to tip toward me, so I'm going to spin it around and see if it stays flush. It's better. So, hitting the center. Again, hitting where you want to hit is hard to do. It'll get better with time, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the swing so that you can improve that. So I'm going to fix the camera angle a little bit so that you can see the swing. Okay, here we go. Now, if I'm going to let this maul do the work, I'm going to bring it up. Okay, I like doing it with the side, with my hand on the side. I grip it, I go up, slide my hand down, and let the maul just fall. If I bring it up and just let the maul fall, same thing, and let it do the work, I'm not going to put any effort into it. Ready? No effort. That's the maul. That's its weight. No energy. You could cut wood all day just about. All you have to do is lift it and just let it fall and guide it to the point where you want to split. Now, you can see how easy that maul splits all on its own. Let's just try that again. All right, this piece is getting smaller, so hopefully I'll still be able to hit it. Now I'm going to come up, over, and down. Now the maul did everything. I didn't use any effort. If you want to start using effort, when you pick the maul up and swing it, if you just stop straight up top, all you got is the distance from the top to your piece to develop the speed. You've got gravity and your strength, your muscles. The reason why some of us will start back here is because if we get motion going back here, we have twice the distance to develop speed. So with twice the distance, now I can bring my wrists and snap all the way through the stroke. So I have gravity, I have the distance, and I have wrist speed. So the head of the maul goes about 4 or 5 times faster than just a drop. The easy split and stuff like this cherry requires minimal energy, so you can split it all day long like a king. Or a queen in Carol's case. And you'll be a champ all day long. Now, let's move on to the green oak. Bigger piece, not so easy, but it's clear. Clear means no knots. It looks like it's clear. I see this little thingy right here. I don't know what that is. Hopefully it's not a knot that I just can't recognize anywhere else. Let's look at the other side, see if there's any knots. Nope, nothing there. Okay, this looks like a clear piece of wood. So, there are no stress cracks to help me out as a guide. So I'm going to take a swing and see how it responds. If it cracks and starts to crack even more from the maul, ooh, that'll be really good. And we'll try to hit it like center to a little bit closer to me. If it starts to split, I'll do another one a little bit further away, another one, just increase the line so that we have more pressure to crack it open, okay? We start a crack, we add to the crack, and hopefully it'll give way. Let's see what we can do. Now, with this piece, I'm gonna give it about 80%, quite a bit. I gotta get this head speed going because this is green. This is gonna absorb a lot of energy. So we're gonna do a standard split on this and see how it works out. Okay, the maul bounced right off, but it started to crack. I don't see it starting to crack over here. So what I'll do is I'll try to hit the same place further up, and we'll see if we can propagate that crack and get those fibers to start separating. Okay, and that's what just happened. So you can see my first split was here, and I missed the mark by about an inch. But that's okay, because the fibers are going to just stress and start prying away from themselves. And now here's the maul. It's kind of stuck, but what I'll do is I'll always go down like that and break it free and then wiggle it out. And now this is where you got to be careful. This is going to split very easily. If I get them all in this hole, it's going to swing through the piece and want to swing down by my feet. I'm going to try to swing and kind of push the maul so that when it goes through, it lands on the stump. So let's give it a try. So the maul just bounced off the stump because I did exactly that. I leaned forward and I continued to split. So here's how it looks on the inside. All of our fibers are running straight. You can see that a little limb was trying to grow down here. Let me fix that camera tilt if you can see it. Hopefully you still can. All right, you really can't because of the shadow. So I'm gonna move my camera around so that we can see exactly what I'm talking about in the sunlight here. Okay, so let me spin that piece. So with that piece split, we can see that there's a little knot right here where a little branch, a little something wanted to grow. And if I came from the other side, it probably wouldn't have given me much problem. So now, I always spin the wood so that it doesn't want to rock and fall toward me. This is going to rock because it's not flat, but it's pretty flush. So with that said, I'm going to try to now, depending on what you want to do, if you're really proficient and good at aiming, you can cut this off in pieces that you want to put in your stove, like a little pie right here, slice of the pie, slice of the pie, slice of the pie. For me, I want a big target. So I'm going to go right down the middle, and then each time it splits, I'll go right down the middle. So let's try to go right down the middle. Okay, that was about 80–90%, and it did not split, but it's close. It's wedged. If I try to lift it, ooh, it came up, but I always want to hit my handle down, hit it down. Okay, let's try to hit the same spot, and if I do, I'm going to bend forward so that the maul bounces off of the stump. Nope, I missed my mark. I got the mark and I hit the stump. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to hope it blows apart if I put another split in it. I'm not going to fight this wood. Okay, there's a nice piece. It's small, but it's a good piece. Okay, as it breaks apart, you'll see that you really don't have to fight it too much. Okay, and then this piece right here, well, let's just turn it into a smaller little guy. Perfect. And pretty much what you're seeing is just the process of splitting wood. All right, kick him to the side for a minute. Let's get to our friend here. The easy piece, not so easy. Where do I want to hit this? In all honesty, I don't want to split a tiny piece and then have still a pretty big piece that might not fit in the stove. So how do I deal with this? I'm going to give one really good try right in the middle and just see what it does. It's all I can do is see what it does. Okay, this is balancing. Woo, it's close. Now, here's another thing that whether you're a beginner or not, this happens to everybody. They break their handle. It's nice if you can get a little piece of, they sell pieces of plastic that slide up the handle and protect the handle up here. Because if you go too long and miss, it bounces right off the wood and breaks your handle. If it doesn't break it the first time, it'll break it in subsequent times. And then you have to either go and buy a new handle. Ugh. or get a whole new maul. So I'm gonna try to get it in the center, maybe air closer to me so I don't wind up breaking my handle. And again, when I do that, I gotta be real careful I don't come down off of this stump. As a matter of fact, let me move it to the back of the stump so if it does come down, it lands here. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. See where I hit that? I hit it actually in the backside. And did you see the way those fibers did not want to split? They opened a little bit and closed right back up because they're turning. There's just so much, they get so dense and so hard. They don't want to split at all, but I'm gonna just keep at it and see if a little pressure and time wins the battle. See those fibers? Just like I said, they're splitting in the turn of the knot. So is there a weak spot anywhere that I could take advantage of on the other side to split it? And I don't see it. Now this is holding my maul pretty good. If it's this bad, again, we can hit it down, up, down, and it pops out, okay? Hitting it down is the first thing you want to do. So do I try to hit the same spot and just keep going? I don't have much of a choice. If I try to hit it from the other side, where am I going to hit it? That's going to connect to this split and give me the piece I want. I don't see any place that connects. If I hit right here, the fibers go in this direction. If I hit way over here, the fibers are going like this. There's really no good place to hit it on the other side. Can you see that? Like, there's no place to hit it on the other side. That gets me down here. So I'm thinking if I try this again, it's just going to break off right here. Maybe. And I don't know, give me a little hooky-low piece that turns, a little elbow. So here we go. I'm just going to try to hit the same spot again and again. Without much progress. And that's what you get right there. That's it. And what do we have? Another try. It's like hitting a big rubber band. If it comes down to it, you know what, just for demonstration purposes, let's just give it a go. Let's come in from the other side, just to see what happens. You never know, you might get lucky, really, honestly. All right. You can see where I hit it, and it did nothing. Just chipped off a tiny little piece. So, hey, Mr. Ant. All right, that's it. That's the demonstration with the maul. And this again is for everybody, beginners, everybody. The whole thing I wanted to do is answer all the questions of why do you do that? Why do you have to stand like this? Why do you have to hit it? Why do you have to look for cracks? How do you swing it? And why do you swing it that way? All of these guys on YouTube, I looked through not all of them, but a lot of the, I don't know, like 4 or 5 of the first top hits of splitting with them all, and I couldn't get these answers from what I saw. And when people swing, they don't go through the, the motions of the swing. So go ahead and give it a try, and please be careful. Thanks for watching.